I'm Maxine. Standing in the middle of Club Enigma, the air thick with a mix of stale champagne and desperation, I watch as the woman who destroyed my life stands before me, her face a mask of shock and disbelief. Claudia, with her perfectly coiffed hair and designer fur coat, looks like a deer caught in the headlights. I take a step towards her, my voice steady and calm. You think you own this place? That you can treat people like dirt and get away with it? I say, my eyes locked onto hers. Well, think again. Claudia scoffs, trying to regain her composure. What do you think you're doing? You're just a coat check girl. You don't have the power to do anything to me. I smile, a cold, hard smile. Oh, but I do. You see, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. 2 years, to be exact. Let me rewind. 2 years ago, I was the proud owner of a trendy nightclub called The Eclipse. It was my baby, a place where people could come and escape the stresses of everyday life. I had worked hard to build it from the ground up, pouring my heart and soul into every detail. But then, she walked in. Claudia was the wife of Derek, a tech mogul who had made his fortune in the digital world. She was used to getting what she wanted, and she didn't like being told no. The first time she tried to get into The Eclipse, I turned her away. I had a strict policy against allowing people like her in, people who thought they were better than everyone else. She didn't take it well. She hissed at me, her face turning red with anger. Do you know who my husband is? You'll regret this. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was used to dealing with entitled people, and I didn't let her threats get to me. But I should have known better. Over the next few weeks, things started to go wrong. Whispers spread through the city, rumors that the Eclipse was a front for illegal activities. Our regular customers started to stay away, and our revenue began to plummet. I tried to fight back, but it was no use. The damage had been done. Then, the final blow. A health inspector showed up at our door, claiming to have received an anonymous tip about rat infestations and sewage leaks. There were no rats, and there were no leaks. Our kitchen was spotless. But the inspector, a sweaty guy who wouldn't look me in the eye, shut us down for 72 hours pending investigation. 72 hours is an eternity in the nightclub business. By the time we were allowed to reopen, it was too late. Our reputation was in tatters, and our investors had pulled out. I was left with nothing but a mountain of debt and a broken heart. I lost everything. My club, my house, my car. I was forced to take a job at Club Enigma, the very place where Claudia and Derek had made themselves at home. It was humiliating, but I didn't have a choice. I needed to pay the bills. For 2 years, I bided my time. I watched Claudia and Derek as they paraded around the club, treating the staff like dirt and flaunting their wealth. I listened to their cruel jokes and their insults, and I seethed with anger. But I didn't let them see it. I kept my head down and did my job, all the while planning my revenge. I started by doing my research. I learned everything I could about Club Enigma and its owners. I discovered that the club was owned by a holding company called Nocturnal Enterprises, which was in financial trouble. They had overexpanded and were struggling to stay afloat. I also learned that the club's liquor license was held by a distributor called Spirit Supply. I knew that if I could gain control of Spirit Supply, I could cut off Club Enigma's supply of alcohol and force them to close their doors. So, I reached out to 2 of my old investors, the ones who had been burned when the Eclipse went under. They were angry and looking for a way to get back at Derek. I pitched them my plan, and they were on board. We formed a shell company called Vengeance Holdings and used it to acquire Spirit Supply. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of legal hoops to jump through, and we had to outbid several other companies. But in the end, we got what we wanted. Once we had control of Spirit Supply, I started to make my move. I flagged Club Enigma's account and suspended their delivery of alcohol. Within 24 hours, the club was running dry. Claudia and Derek were furious, but there was nothing they could do. The next step was to target Derek's ego. I accessed the third-party valet software system and made a small adjustment to the VIP list. When Derek arrived at the club for his big post-merger party, the valet informed him that his vehicle was restricted. He had to park his own car and walk 3 blocks in the slush. I also tweaked the club's digital tipping system to prioritize service to tables that tipped well. Claudia's table was flagged as non-priority/low tipper, which meant that her drink orders went to the bottom of the queue. She was furious, but the staff couldn't do anything about it. Finally, I placed a maintenance-required order for Derek's favorite corner booth. I cited structural instability in the subfloor and had it cordoned off with yellow caution tape. When he arrived at the club, he was furious. He demanded to know what was going on, but the manager couldn't give him a satisfactory answer. As the night went on, things got worse for Claudia and Derek. The club was running out of alcohol, the service was terrible, and they were forced to stand in the middle of the dance floor like losers. They looked like a couple of sad clowns, and I couldn't help but smile. But the best was yet to come. On Sunday morning, I sat in my lawyer's office and signed the papers that would make me the owner of Club Enigma. I had bought the debt from Nocturnal Enterprises and exercised my right to terminate their lease. They were officially out of business. That night, I went to work for my final shift at Club Enigma. It was a strange feeling, walking through the doors as the owner instead of the coat check girl. I put on my uniform, but this time, it felt different. It was a symbol of my victory. When Claudia and Derek arrived at the club, they were in for a shock. I was waiting for them at the coat check, wearing my bright red lipstick and a smile on my face. "Check my coat, sweetie," Claudia said, throwing her fur coat at me. I caught the coat, but I didn't hang it up. Instead, I looked her in the eye and said, "No." Claudia's eyes widened in shock. "What did you say?" I repeated myself. "No. I don't work for you anymore. I own this place." Claudia laughed, a nervous, jagged sound. "You're delusional. You can't own this club. You're just a coat check girl." I stepped out from behind the counter and walked towards her. "I'm not just a coat check girl. I'm the landlord, the bank, and the management. And you're trespassing." Claudia's face went pale. She looked at Derek, but he was too busy looking at his shoes. He knew that there was nothing he could do. I reached under the counter and pulled out a single paperclip. I used it to attach a small folded piece of paper to the fur coat that was still lying on the counter. "I think you dropped this," I said. Claudia looked at the paperclip and the paper. "What is that?" "It's a notice," I said. "Your membership is revoked. Effective immediately. Permanent ban global. If I buy a lemonade stand in the future, you're banned from there, too." Claudia's eyes filled with tears. "You can't do this to me. You're just a nobody." I smiled. "I'm not a nobody. I'm the one who's going to make you pay for what you did to me. Now, get out." I signaled to the bouncers, and they stepped forward. They didn't touch Claudia or Derek roughly, but they made it clear that they weren't welcome. As they were being escorted out of the club, Claudia turned back one last time. "You'll regret this," she said. I laughed. "I don't think so. You're the one who's going to regret it. You should have thought twice before you tried to destroy me." The heavy oak door slammed shut behind them, and the club erupted in cheers. I looked around at the crowd, at the faces of the people who had supported me through this whole ordeal. I felt a sense of pride and satisfaction wash over me. I walked behind the bar and picked up a bottle of Grey Goose, one of the last ones left before the new stock arrived. I poured a shot for the house and yelled, "To revenge." The roar was deafening. I didn't stay for the party. I walked up the stairs to the VIP balcony, my balcony. I looked down at the sea of people, at the ecosystem that was healing itself. I sat down in the booth, the one I had marked with caution tape earlier. I ripped the tape off and sat down. I pulled out my phone and checked the Reddit thread. Update, she's gone, I typed, and I didn't even have to use the sriracha. I closed my eyes and leaned back. My feet hurt. My cheap shoes were pinching my toes. But for the first time in 2 years, I didn't care. I wasn't the help. I wasn't the victim. I was the house. The house always wins. So, to answer your question, yes, revenge is a dish best served cold, preferably in a VIP lounge you just bought from under your enemy's feet. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a club to run and a new rule to post on the door. Be nice or get out. Check your access, sweetie.